Hey, good morning. It's Patricia Murphy. It's Monday. This is Seattle Now. I hope you're having a great last few days of 2021. We're taking this week off and playing some of our favorite shows from the past year. Today's story is from producer Matt Martin. Back in February, he visited Olympia's Priest Point Park, where there's a telephone hanging on a tree tucked away in a quiet corner. It's called the Telephone of the Wind, and it was put there by travel writer Corey Dembeck. While you can't use this phone to actually call anyone, people use it all the time. Here's Matt.
If you're like me and have never been to Priest Point Park before, it is a 314-acre park on the edge of Puget Sound. The day I was there was sunny. Families stroll the beach, and you can see the dome of the Capitol across the water. There's a network of trails that spiderweb their way through the forested section of the park, just up the hill from the beach. And that's where I meet Corey Dembeck.
We were walking down the backside, a trail on the backside of Priest Point Park, towards the Telephone of the Wind that I hung up.
The Telephone of the Wind is an old rotary phone Corey found at a thrift store, attached to a piece of wood that's about the size of a car window.
And really, you kind of just walk up to it, and at first you kind of feel a little bit ridiculous. So, like, you kind of pick up the phone, and then you dial the rotary, and kind of let it, like, clink back. Well, the first time I used it was, I said, like, "Hi, Mom."
Corey's mother passed away in Texas back in 2014. She never got a chance to meet her granddaughters. They were born after her death. Corey felt like he always had too much on his plate to sit down and actually grieve the loss of his mother.
This phone is for everyone who has lost a loved one. This phone is an outlet for those who have messages they wish to share with their lost friends and family. It's a phone for memories and saying the goodbyes you never got to say.
The Telephone of the Wind isn't Corey's original idea. He first heard about the concept after the tsunami disaster in Japan back in 2011. A Japanese artist named Sasaki Itaru set up an old telephone booth for people whose families had been washed out to sea.
And I always thought, man, like, I could use something like that. But I had no real, intention of doing it myself.
That was until about 6 months ago, when a 4-year-old girl who was good friends with Corey's daughter suddenly passed away. Corey was in shock, and he was still carrying the grief of losing his mother. He had to do something with these emotions.
And then on top of just the way the world was kind of it feels like it's been crumbling. I made this decision.
So he built it. Corey needed this outlet, and he thought others might need it too. So he snuck the phone and plywood down the trail, piece by piece, and then attached them to the tree. He picked up the receiver for the first time and said, "Hi, Mom."
And at that point, I just started crying. I just couldn't, the ridiculousness of it kind of, disappeared a little bit. And then I left and I felt better. I felt like I had a little bit of a weight lifted off my chest,
Corey sees the phone as a way to ease people into what can be an uncomfortable experience.
It's how people have communicated with people over long distances for over a century. So I think that it feels way more comfortable to hold a receiver to your mouth to start talking to someone.
As Corey and I walk back to our cars, he spots 2 women intensely looking at a map of the park. He tells me he has a hunch they're looking for the phone. He offers to show them the way. Vera Leach saw a post about the phone while scrolling on her iPad one night.
I was on my iPad, and it just popped up.
Vera recruited her friend Carol Ortiz to join her to see the phone. Both women are members of the Lacey Presbyterian Church. And Carol tells me they've had a lot of death this year. None COVID-related, but still, it's been hard on the congregation.
Well, particularly now where people, if they have a loved one in the hospital, they can't even go visit, or in a nursing home.
Both Carol and Vera didn't get a chance to say goodbye to their own parents.
Mom, I was talking to her when she had a massive stroke, and so there was really no time to say goodbye. I did CPR on her, but she didn't come back. So, yeah.
And my parents were both in England when they died, and I was here. And so didn't get a chance to say goodbye to either of them.
Corey and I give Vera and Carol some privacy. As we head back towards our cars, Corey tells me the phone can be used for more than just talking to loved ones. Because grief has been relentless this year, Corey hopes the project will be used by anyone who just needs to talk.
Somebody who's suicidal or can't, or is struggling with depression and needs to, talk to somebody, they could talk to somebody. They can say it out loud in a way that maybe that it'll help them, I think that's important nowadays.
About 15 minutes later, Kara and Vera emerge from the forest.
It was great. I think there needs to be a Kleenex box there.
And maybe some hand sanitizer or something, But I was just talking to my father about his great-grandchildren and how happy they would be about their lives now and what they've accomplished. And I said, I'll come back and talk to you some more.
Granted you could do that in your own home. Just think of the person and say it. However, something about talking on the phone just makes it like you're having a real conversation.
Corey believes that's enough. He thinks we need outlets like this in the region, particularly because Seattle is a city of transplants.
My mom's buried in Houston, Texas, and there are so many people who have loved ones that they can't go to these sites that they are supposed to be able to go to mourn, and I feel like this becomes almost like a proxy for that. It becomes the next best bet.
For Seattle Now, I'm Matt Martin.
Everything you hear in this podcast is made possible by you. And we have so many ideas for 2022. If you want to hear more voices, more fact checks, and more questions answered, and more podcasts, then please make a special year-end gift to keep vital information flowing in the new year. You can donate online at KUOW.org, and thanks.